Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, I'm Scott Bogey from Combat Sports UK, here with Bailey Gilbert, ahead of his fight against Alberta Dias. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad, mate.
And how has the training camp been for this fight?
Yeah, so training's been going really well. It's been a long time coming, this one. After some issues I had the last camp and that falling through. So, but we've just kept chipping away, and it's just been more time to get better. But I feel like everything's really coming into place really well. Strongest, fittest, most technically proficient I've ever been, and yeah, so I'm feeling real good, ready for it.
Exactly, and it must feel good knowing that you are fighting in front of your home fans. How does that feel?
Yeah, no, so fighting in Newcastle in the Toon in front of the best fans in the world, it doesn't get much better than that. And it's the best card the North East's probably ever seen. Like, you've got all your home brand, home names of MMA in the North East fighting on the card. It's amazing, and it's meant to be part of it. Like, it's an honor to be part of it, fighting on Cage Warriors there, and the fans there is going to be insane because everyone that's from the Northeast knows each other. It's not like a massive place. So like, everyone who's supporting me is supporting everyone else, and everyone who's supporting everyone else is supporting me. So I can't wait for that.
And just touching on what you said just there, that it is the best card the Toon's seen. It is most likely the best card Cage Warriors have produced this year. You have 3 title fights, which include Kennedy Freeman, Harry Hardwick, and Shakak. And then you also have Charles Joyner, who is in that light heavyweight contender. And so, do you feel like the Northeast is now getting into a stage where they are getting their glory now?
Yeah, and it's about time. The Northeast been like the MMA scene in the Northeast been amazing for a long time, and there's been a lot of great shows kicking about. There's been a lot of great fighters come from the Northeast. And like, you can go back as far as like Ian Freeman, Ross Pearson, Colin Fletcher, people like that, like from back in the day, and it's kind of stayed that way. We've had some great guys come out of the Northeast, and yeah, it's about time.
And in your last fight, it was against Orlando Wilson Prince. How did you feel like that fight was going before you did get stopped in that first round?
Yeah, I didn't get going. I tried to rush the start of the fight a little bit too quickly, and then I was on the back foot after that. And no excuses. Shit happens. I had a mint training camp leading up to that. Felt amazing, warming up. Felt great. Walking out, the atmosphere was amazing. Everything like that. Just one of those things at the highest level. You can make one mistake and be playing catch up after that. So it is what it is, and we learn from it and grow from it.
Exactly. And what do you feel like has been your biggest development since that fight?
I've developed across the board, mentally, physically. Like, I'm like 24 years old still. Like, every fight, I'm a completely different fighter from the last one. So everything, I just jump up and jump up and jump up. Obviously, I went through a full camp preparing the fight in May this year, and then that fell through. So I had another full camp of experience and learning and sparring and training with really good people that brought us on leaps and bounds, and I felt like that had been the best camp to date. Then that not go ahead, it was just straight back to it, keep plugging away, and I feel like I've developed all round as a fighter and as a person over the past year since my last fight. So yeah.
And like you said, you are still really young in the sport, and you have been able to get a wealth of experience having 14 pro fights. Do you feel like that experience is just keeping you very young, is just going to help you later on?
Yeah. So like, what you tell people all the time when I'm training with them, coaching them or whatever, time on the mats is the best thing you can have, and time in the cage time experience against fighting like really good guys and stuff like that. Like, you get into a routine of how you deal with the pre-fight nerves, the build up to the fight, the weight cutting, and it's all just money in the bank, ready for the next one. And to have 14 pro fights already under my belt, like, it's quite a bit of experience for like a younger guy. So then we're just going to keep building on it.
And as long as you are injury free, when are you looking to get back into the cage? Are you going to try and get on in the first card of the new year, or are you looking to spend some time with some family?
I'm dead set on this fight coming up, and then following this fight, then we're going to look at what happens next. I've got eyes fixated on one goal, and that's to win this fight, and then we'll move from there. I've always been the kind of guy that just looks at the target in front of him, and then we'll go from what happens there. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
And how much do you value the tape study in the sport?
So yeah, so I do. You always watch tape of the guys you're
Yeah.
fighting, things like that. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in what their opponent does a lot of the time. So a lot of people don't actually just focus inwards on themselves and what they're good at and what they can do. But tape study is a really useful tool to be used, but that's what it is. It's a tool to give you a game plan, to give you an idea of what you're going up against. But you've got to fight to your strengths as well at the end of the day. And at the end, it's a fight and anything can happen. So you could be going up against a striker, plan to grapple, and you end up striking with them. You might end up going against a grappler, end up grappling with them. You just don't know in this day and age because everyone's good everywhere. Everyone can do everything. Everyone can switch stance. Everyone can do bits of all sorts, and everyone's fit. So yeah, it's useful, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, because like you just touched on there, they can change. Your last fight was last year, so you've had that year to look back, develop, change some things about your game that if Albert was looking into you, you may have just changed that completely. So do you feel like some guys just overcomplicate it?
Yeah, what's that video? Is it just Drickus Duplessis where he's saying all these YouTube analysts are saying I put my weight on the left leg and I put my weight on the right leg. I don't even think of any of that. And he's just like I'm just going there and have a fight because he's just a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people do. There is an element of technique and skill to the striking and the grappling, and it does go as deep as you want it to go. But sometimes it's just about like who wants it more, really, and that's what can go boil down to. Especially when you're at the highest level and everyone's skilled and everyone knows how to fight. So it boils down to who wants it more, really. But like, if I was to fight me a year ago, I would absolutely murder me now. So
And did I hear earlier on that you do also coach as well as train?
yeah. So I do bits of coaching at a couple of places as well. I coach at a gym in Stockton called Stockton Spartans, and I coach at a gym called Creed MMA in Concert as well. So I do bits there, and I feel like that helps me because people ask questions, and you've got
Yeah.
to really sit and think about what you're saying because you want to pass them the best things that you can on to them as well, and it allows you to look at the moves and try and go back over things, and you remember things a lot better, and you can analyze stuff as you're coaching it as well. And like I've had the honor of working with a lot of good coaches over the years, and to try and pass that on to the next generation means a lot. And it's all and at the end of the day, as you bring people on, they become training partners for you and they help you out, and it's giving back. So I enjoy it.
And how good is it seeing the progress of the people that you are teaching?
It's amazing. It's great to see the guys come on and pick up stuff, and even when you like spar with them or roll with them, and the hit stuff that you've shown them, especially guys that have came to the gym with not training anywhere else, and they
Yeah.
start hitting moves and start piecing things together, and you can see the jigsaw kind of click in the head. It's really good, but it's more than that. It's seeing them develop as people and the way that they change over the time of like being on the mats with the guys and being around it all and like bringing people out of their shells a lot. Like even for me, when I first started training, I was a shy kid, and like if you would look back and tell me where I would be now and the person that I would be now, it would be you. I wouldn't have believed you. So it's done me the world of good. So it's good to see when people come through the door knowing that like it can do that for them as well.
And what do you feel like has been your toughest test currently in that octagon?
Toughest test. They're all tough. They're all tough tests. They're all tough tests. I was thinking about this the other day. I've had a couple of fights where things have been close, like chokes have been tight. I've been hit with good shots and stuff like that. So, like, it's more so like the fight's the fun bit. To be fair,
Yeah.
like they're not the bits that I consider tough. The training's not tough. I love to train. Like I enjoy being around the gym and doing all that kind of stuff. The diet's a bit shit. The diet probably is the tougher bit, but yeah, I love this life, and I love what I do. So none of it's really tough to us.
And with this fight being in Newcastle, it is your hometown. How much do you hear the crowd? 'Cause obviously, the crowd's going to be in your support. They're going to try and boost you up. Can you hear that, or do you just block it out?
So I hear it on the walk out when you stood at the start and your music's playing, and you look around and you see so many faces that you know from different gyms and people that I've met over the years, and you see it all as I walk out and I take it all in, I absorb it, and everyone's cheering. That once I'm in there and the cage door locks, it's silence, and all I'm focused on is my opponent.
And how did you get into MMA?
So one of my friends, his dad's used to train. He used to do MMA, and I always used to see him in the street, and I always used to joke on that I could fill him in and I would beat him up and stuff like that. And for about a year, he was like, come up the gym, we'll see what it's about, we'll see what it's about. I was like, yeah, one day, one day. And then I was like, do you know what? I'll give it a go. I'll go up and I'll try this. So I went up. Went a couple of the lads there doing rear naked chokes. I still remember the class of the day. We were doing taking the back and rear naked chokes, and I got showed a couple of things that I still use to this day, and I've never looked back. I had my first fight. I had a boxing fight. I won that, and I said, "This is me. This is what I want to do. I love this." So, and then we've been flat out at it since.
And do you just solely train at Sensei MMA, or do you ever cross train with anyone else?
So this camp, especially, I do quite a lot of training at Sensei, and then I also go to Mick Sudrin for my wrestling, and I also been working with Jamie Bates, Kickboxer for Glory, on my striking in the lead up to this fight as well. I've been traveling this weekend alone. I've been down to Manchester. I've trained at Stealth and Bolton, and I've also trained at Subzone in Manchester with Kamata Guru. And like always try and get about and train with the best guys I can, because that's how you get better. You learn from the people who are like specialists and good in the sport, and also like sparring with guys. And I've also been to Northern Kings, a Thai gym in town, for sparring with Southpaws and that specific to this fight. So I get about. I spend a tiny bit of my weekends traveling around with the train. So yeah.
And how big are sponsorships in this game?
Sponsorships, are massive, and it makes a huge difference to be able to fund training and
Yeah.
afford to go do things, because it's not a cheap sport, and especially if you're fighting on somewhere like Cage Warriors Octagon or the UFC, and you got to pay for bloods, and then you got to pay for MRIs, and then something goes wrong with MRIs, and you got to pay for another set of MRIs, you got to pay for see a neurologist, or you've got to pay your annual medicals, and you've got to buy your supplements. You've got to pay. You've got to eat clean. You've got to pay your petrol to travel around the train. You've got to pay your fees into the gyms. Like, it's an expensive thing to do, but luckily I'll do it regardless. I've done it as an amateur for free, and so here we are. But like the sponsors help you do what you need to do to get there, and a lot of the time sponsors, like, it's just to help the guys out. It's what they do it for, and it's good for them because they get something back from it as well. But like, I can't thank them enough for putting the help in to try and help me chase this dream.
And then how much, 'cause obviously you are from Newcastle, how much are Cade Warriors trying to get you to like get your link out there, get the tickets sold?
Yeah, so it's wherever you fight, you've got to push that link and get the
Yeah.
tickets sold, because you get some fighters that are like, "Oh, I'm not bothered about selling tickets. I just want to fight." Wait, it's a business at the end of the day. If you
Yeah.
don't sell tickets, if you don't get sell tickets, shows don't put you on, and you don't build a brand, you don't build a name for yourself, you don't get signed to the bigger shows. You've always got to like push it. Like, I probably wouldn't even be on social media if it wasn't fair to me to try and push me ticket link and stuff like that, because for like my own reasons and stuff, just I'm not big on it. But like, you've just got to set, like, you've got to push it all. But Cage Warriors obviously want you to sell tickets, but you've got to, regardless of the show, regardless of where it's at, if you're fighting down the country, you still got to sell tickets. You still got to take people down, because how else are you meant to get paid if you're not making any money for the show?
Exactly. And have you just stayed in the UK for your training, or have you ever gone abroad?
No, I've not been abroad training yet. I I would like to get abroad training. I'd love to go to Thailand. Thailand would be really big up there on going somewhere to train. I'd love to get over to America at some point and train over there as well. There's that many good gyms around the
Yeah.
world now that you can just dip in and out. And I'm like confident enough guy that I would go wherever. If I was away on holiday somewhere and there was an MMA gym, I would happily pop in and check it out. But I'd love to get abroad. Like I love traveling and seeing other countries anyway. So if there's a chance to train and travel, that would be mint.
Well, and I know you're going to go out there and Cage Warriors 181, get the victory, and we'll be able to speak ahead of the next big fight as well. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Yeah, so I just want to give shout out to my gym sensei, shout out to the lads at Creed MMA as well, shout out to Stockton Spartans Wrestling, and then I want to give out shout out to my sponsors as well, NBC Renewables, uh, sorry, NBC Renewables, Fresh the Meal Prep Co, and you're gonna have to edit this one down for us. Get punched in the head too much. Oh, New Day Safety Solutions, and that's terrible because he sponsored us for the longest time. Mitch is the proper sound guy. Mitch has sponsored us. You're gonna have to cut that down, you'll kill us.
I'll cut it down, don't worry.
NBC Renewables, Fresh the Meal Prep Co, Stockton Spartans Wrestling Club, and I'd say New Day Safety Solutions as well. Yeah, so they're who I want to shout out, and then obviously the guys from the gym, Sensei Creed as well. So yeah, a lot of love for them guys.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you for coming on. Wish you the best of luck.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.